Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Beastly Eel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the 2-episode series premiere of Agatha All Along. So these 2 episodes came out yesterday, on Wednesday. And what we're going to be talking about is, like we always do, talk about the plot in and of itself, and then move on to where this is going to potentially lead for the rest of the series. So let's get right into it. So the first episode was very much it was Agnes of Westfield, um, because what this was again, we don't know this yet. However, it's given the illusion that obviously Agatha's under a spell. She is beginning to she it thinks of herself as a detective here, so she is one, and she's looking at this murder, or at least um, female body that was found in the woods, crushed to death. Right, looks very much like Wanda, from the way she looked in WandaVision. Obviously, the different part here is obviously being crushed. During this, she finds her emblem, her little brooch. However, she has no recollection of what that is. So time goes on, weird things begin to happen. A character played by Audrey Plaza comes in, who is playing a FBI agent who's trying to get Agatha to remember something, right? So obviously, her in this, she's Agnes, and she is a member of Westfield. This woman is continually, the FBI agent is continually trying to get her to think of things outside of Westfield, and obviously Agnes cannot. And for whatever the reason, this woman does not push any harder, so she begins to leave. During this time, obviously she's trying to figure out the crime and who's done it and everything else. So at one point there is a clue to go to the library. She goes there, and there's a section of the book of the library that's burnt. And one of the characters there says all of the copies of that book were destroyed. Now, obviously, this leads to the thought of it being talked about the Darkhold. And we actually know this for sure when Agatha puts all of the letters of the book together. So this long book, each first letter of each word spells out the Darkhold. Agatha's slowly starting to, or Agnes is starting to feel like there's something going on, but still can't pinpoint it. So obviously, she goes home as if nothing's happened. She then, um, there's a break-in in her home, along with her friend, the FBI agent, being there. She goes upstairs to see this young teenage boy break into her home. She arrests him. You'll understand in a minute what that means. Trying to get information out of him. He then begins to chant a song, or chant a spell, and explain that he wants to find the witch's robe. Again, all these things are hitting her, and things are changing, and things are not looking the way they're supposed to. So all these photos that she had weren't of the dead body that she assumed they were. So she goes to the morgue. The morgue is empty. She then goes to, all of a sudden, this body appears. The FBI agent is there, and it turns out that the body has a name written in red, scarlet specifically, um, W. Maximoff, which is obviously meant to be Wanda Maximoff. So this woman is now trying to convince Agnes to realize that there's somebody else a part of this crime, that you need to think of the other person's name. And that's when Agnes begins to literally strip. She begins to break down the layers of the spell, so we start to see all of her costumes from WandaVision. So first, obviously, it's the detective. She then goes into her last outfit as um, under the spell of Wanda. She continues to break through. We see all the different decades until she is in black and white at the body, where she then sees in purple her name, A. Harkness. Then she rips that piece off and wakes up in her home completely naked. So she goes outside trying to figure out where she is, how long she's been out there. The neighbors are kind of freaked out at what she's doing. and that apparently the past 3 days she's been pretending to be a detective. Agnes is not happy. She then begins to go through her stuff. She opens the closet door, finds the teenage boy tied up in her closet. She realizes that he's real, so should the FBI agent, which happens to be a witch called, and I do apologize, her name is Rio Vidal. And later she is called the Green Witch, which we'll talk about later. So let's keep going, right? So we have that going on, and we then have all this going on, and now the spell is broken. So now she's at this fight with the Green Witch, or Rio, let's say. And it's actually physically, we see a different side of Agatha that we have not seen before. Now, obviously, Agatha highly focused on using her magic for obvious reasons. However, she cannot use magic anymore because it was taken away from her. So we see her being a physical force against this witch. In the end, the Green Witch takes advantage of everything and goes to kill her. Agatha convinces her to let her live because she wants her to. So Agatha convinces the Green Witch to let her live because the Green Witch would want to actually fight Agatha at her best to prove that she's superior, not just kill her because she's at her weakest. So this witch decides, fine, whatever. There's so many people who are after you. I really don't care who kills you, as long as I get to watch. And she explains that the Salem Seven are looking for her. Um, and now Agatha is terrified by this, especially because she's unable to defend herself. Um, so that woman leaves. She then gets ready to pack up and go. That's when the teenage boy basically breaks out enough to state that he's looking for the Witch's Road. Agatha is basically trying to dismiss him, saying that that doesn't exist at all. Um, he eventually convinces her otherwise, explaining that he was the one that got her out of there. And now that intrigued Agatha, mostly due to the fact that to break the Scarlet Witch's spell, you have to be a powerful witch or wizard or sorcerer. So Agatha is very convinced. Granted, most likely her thought process is she's going to take this boy's power. However, she agrees to go with him. However, they need a coven. Um, a coven to actually get to the Witch's Road. And that's how the first episode ends. So the second episode obviously is Agatha All Along. We get the title screen and everything else. We then get all that going on, and now Agatha's looking for a coven. So she's looking for all the different types of witches, because you need 5 witches to open up the doorway or get to the Witch's Road, right? One of each type of magic, which again we will discuss later in more detail of what my thoughts of what that is. So anyway, we get right into this. So Agatha goes to a fortune teller's place, which is the character played by Patti LuPone, who happens to be um, playing Lilia Calderon, and I'm probably pronouncing her name wrong. But anyway, let's get right into this. She is a clairvoyant witch who has the ability to see what will come. Okay? Can't necessarily see the future always, but can see people's pasts and know everything. So we get to see her power on full blast. We also see the ramifications of her power as well, mostly due to the fact that she can cause severe migraines because of it. Um, they then explain that they need a coven to get to the Witch's Road. Obviously, she's against it because there's no such thing and it's a suicide mission. She then writes the names of everyone who's going to be in Agatha's coven, hands it to her, and obviously using her powers, and begins to walk away saying, "Get those 4 and leave me alone." And that's when the teenager is like, "Hey, your name is on here." And she's like, "No, it's not." And she looks and realizes it is. And Agatha and the teenager give um, Lillian the address of where Agatha lives and states, "Be there tonight so we can actually start this." The next one they go to is a Jennifer Kale. So the reason why they're going to her is because she is a potions expert. Now, she was exiled and taken away out of the witches' coven completely. and wants back in. However, she's obviously got some other stuff going on, which the teenager exploits. So, financial issues, legal problems, all of that. So, they give her the address and leave her as well. They go to another one known as Alice Wu, right? This person in particular is a former cop, now security guard, and apparently mother is a witch. And so because of that, she must have the ability to be a witch as well. Anyway, we have all that going on. They then try to, Agatha gets the teenager to pretend to steal. They get Alice fired. They then try to convince her to join. She leaves without believing anything, specifically because the rumor is that Alice's mother went to the Witch's Road and never came back. However, none of this was proven, obviously, but Agatha pulls on that heartstring to try to state, like, hey, don't you want to know what goes on with what happened to your mother? Obviously doesn't want to hear it and leaves without getting the address. So the teenager's like, all right, who's the next one? She says, oh, nobody, nobody, nobody. And so she eats the paper because she doesn't want the boy to see. It happens to be a literal black heart, which is supposed to be the witch, the green witch that tried to kill her to begin with. However, she doesn't want that one to be there. At Agatha's house, the witches come. They're obviously missing one, and Agatha realizes that she needs a fifth person to get this to work, and because it's a black heart, she goes to see Miss Hart, who is not Miss Hart anymore, and gets her to go down to join them. So they all go down to the basement. The teenager is left upstairs, who is now seeing the Salem Seven try to come in. So these five witches sing the song to get to the Witch's Road, and apparently can only work if all of them are there. It apparently took forever, but eventually did open up. There was a little bit of a fight in between. They then started to think that Agatha only wanted them there to absorb their powers, which may have been true, mostly due to the fact that she didn't think it could work because one of them was not actually a witch, or so she thought. I say it that way because we don't know for sure. So the Salem Sevens try to break in. That's when the teenager runs in, opens the door. After the door is already open, he runs down, and everyone else follows. Agatha's the last one to go down after seeing the Salem Seven start to crawl down in a very demonic way to go after her. She then goes down, closes the door. When she looks back up, she realizes the door is gone, and now it is just earth. They go down, they all see the Witch's Road, and they all take off their shoes after Agatha does so, and follow the road together. Now, some things I want to talk about. So, obviously, the Salem Seven is supposed to be, now in the comics, if I remember correctly, is part of the New Salem group, which is run by her son and her family, who then want to kill her, right? This still could be the fact because her son's name was on her on the so when Agatha was Agnes and we see her open the door to that room of where a dead child was, right? When I say that it was obviously a shrine to a child, that name is actually the name of her child in the comics. So that is the potential that that kid still could be alive. Obviously, as a person running the Salem 7. This has not been confirmed, obviously, so we'll have to wait to know for sure. However, we have all that going on. We also have the fact that you need five witches, okay? All of different elements. Agatha is purple, okay? Then you have fire, wind, water, earth, okay? Each one magically a different color. So earth being green. So all of those are the colors that are used. So all the colors that we saw, right? So purple, right? Agatha. We have the green witch, earth, right? We saw yellow, orange in there as well, okay? And a little bit of another color, and I cannot remember to save my life. The reason why I say that is because it's yellow, orange, green, blue, Now, I don't remember seeing red. There might have been red, and if there was, I do apologize. But my thought process was red wasn't there because the Scarlet Witch was one and only one. Chaos magic, right? Each one representing a color of the Infinity Stones. Purple being Agatha's and hers being power. We have the clairvoyant one being yellow, mostly due to the fact that it is the um, mind, right? Clairvoyance is for the mind. We then have that. We also saw orange, which would make me think that that was actually Alice's. Alice's being the protection. Protection for a witch would be her soul. And we have that going on, right? Those are my thought processes for this. Green being time. Time is earth. Turn to dust in time. Time, earth, right? So we have all that going on, and that's where I'm thinking. And obviously, red being reality, but that's the scarlet, right? Blue, right? Water would be my thought process for space, right? Water takes up space. I know it's um stretching some of these, but the idea is each one of them is a color of an infinity stone, each representing an element. The elements come together to be as powerful as a potential infinity stone, and their powers must be related to that as well. That's my thought process for right now. I could be wrong, but who knows? Obviously, the teenager has got to be Billy Kaplan, who is a reincarnated son of Wanda. And one of the big reasons why I believe this, obviously for many reasons, but for the fact that Agatha would be able to put two and two together, and Agatha's not able to hear the kid's name or his backstory. And so, because of that, that makes me think heavily that it is going to be revealed that that's him. Now, what we're going to be seeing in The Witch's Road is we're going to be seeing a lot of trials and tribulations for these witches, where many of them, if not all, will die. So very curious at that. So the whole story is obviously going to be on the Witch's Road. We know the Green Witch will be coming at some point. Most likely, I would guess in the next episode, due to the fact that she would come and realize that, oh, Agatha needed somebody else, and want to play that to her advantage. So I'm very curious to see where that's going to go. But for now, that's pretty much it. I thought this was an excellent introduction to the series. We got to see where Agatha has been. We also got to see where she's going to be going and the plot of the whole series for the most part. Obviously, we don't know the full details of what's going to be happening, but also the fact that there are witches throughout the entire continental area, building themselves, wanting to build themselves back up to be powerful once again. So it'll be interesting to see, and also interesting to see how Agatha tries to manipulate the situation to make herself the better one, right? So overall, let me know what you guys thought about these two episodes down in the comments below. Did you like them? Did you not? And why? And as always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night.